The mockery of Earth. The Galactic Council chamber was a grand circular hall filled with the leaders of powerful alien civilizations. The air shimmered with holographic projections, displaying maps of galaxies, trade routes, and military assets. The room was filled with whispers and laughter. Today's meeting had an unusual topic: Earth. Seated in the center of the hall, Earth's representative, Ambassador Daniel Carter, stood firm. He was the only human in a room of towering reptilians, insectoids, and energy-based life forms. His suit was crisp, his expression unreadable. He had been sent to request Earth's entry into the Galactic Council. A deep, rumbling laugh echoed through the chamber. It came from High Chancellor Vorak, the leader of the Zarkari Dominion, a race of tall, scaled warriors. His golden eyes gleamed with amusement as he leaned forward. Humans wish to join the council. Vorak scoffed. Are you lost, Ambassador? This is a place for real civilizations. The hall erupted in laughter. The Xelari, a species of floating jellyfish-like beings, pulsed with amusement. The insectoid Vrex clicked their mandibles in mockery. Even the usually silent Alari, beings of pure energy, flickered with dim light, a sign of amusement. Daniel did not flinch. He had expected this reaction. The council was formed to ensure peace and cooperation. He said, his voice steady. Earth has advanced. We have colonized planets, developed technology beyond our past limits, and we wish to contribute to the galaxy. Another alien, a snake-like being with 4 arms, hissed in amusement. Your kind only recently discovered faster than light travel. What could humans possibly offer? Scrap metal, perhaps, another alien suggested, and the chamber filled with laughter again. Daniel remained calm, but inside, his blood boiled. He had studied these species. Many of them had inherited their power, given technology by older empires. They had never struggled as humans had. You mock us because we are young, Daniel said. But youth is not weakness. Vorak leaned back, his massive claws tapping on the armrest of his seat. Then prove it, human. Show us that Earth is worthy. Bring forth your greatest warship, and we will judge. The room went silent. Some aliens smirked, expecting Earth to decline. Others waited, curious if the humans would accept such a bold challenge. Daniel smiled. Not a nervous smile, but one filled with quiet confidence. Very well, he said. We accept. He turned to leave, his steps steady, his posture unshaken. As he exited the chamber, the laughter began again. The council did not see him as a diplomat. To them, he was a fool. But they did not know what was coming. Earth had been underestimated for too long. That was about to change. A week had passed since Earth's ambassador, Daniel Carter, left the Galactic Council chamber. The laughter of the alien leaders still echoed through the great halls. But now, there was a new sound, a buzz of curiosity. The humans had accepted the challenge. That was unexpected. No one truly believed Earth could impress them. The Council had seen the warships of empires that had existed for thousands of years. The Zarkari Dominion had battleships the size of cities. The Xelari had fleets that moved like shadows, impossible to track. The Alari wielded technology so advanced that their ships did not even have physical form. And now, the humans were bringing their best warship. It was laughable. But still, curiosity lingered. Messages spread across the galaxy. Representatives from every major civilization arranged to witness the event. It was rare to see a new species try to prove itself in such a bold way. Some expected an amusing display of human arrogance. Others secretly hoped to see something different. And so, on the agreed day, thousands of alien vessels gathered in a neutral system on the edge of Council space. A massive observation station floated in the void, hosting the most powerful leaders in the galaxy. Chancellor Vorak sat at the center of the main viewing chamber, a smug smile on his reptilian face. Around him, alien dignitaries murmured, discussing how quickly the human warship would embarrass itself. Have the humans arrived? Vorak asked lazily. Auxiliary observer, its jelly-like body pulsing with soft green light, responded. Their fleet is approaching. One ship only. The chamber erupted in laughter again. Only one. Avrek's general hissed, his mandibles clicking in amusement. This will be over quickly. Outside, beyond the thick windows of the observation station, the darkness of space stretched infinitely. The alien ships hovered like stars, waiting, watching. Then a ripple appeared, a disturbance in the void. A ship emerged from faster-than-light travel, and suddenly the laughter stopped. The Leviathan had arrived. At first, there was only silence. Then, a whisper of confusion. Then, tension. The ship was massive. It was larger than any council member had expected. Its dark hull gleamed with an eerie sheen, as if it absorbed the very light around it. Its surface had no obvious weapons, no glowing energy cores, no weak spots. It did not move like a warship. It moved like a predator, silent and controlled. Chancellor Vorik's smug expression faded. His golden eyes narrowed. This is the human warship. A auxiliary analyst immediately began scanning the vessel. Streams of alien text flooded his holographic display, analyzing power output, weapon signatures, and shield strength. His pulsing body turned from green to an uneasy yellow. There is something strange, the auxiliary muttered. The energy readings, I cannot understand them. Another alien commander scoffed. It's a trick. A ship that large cannot possibly move efficiently. Its weapons are probably outdated. I say we test it. Without waiting for approval, a small Zarkari warship moved forward. It was a typical scout-class vessel, armed with plasma cannons. Its captain, a young and reckless officer, wanted to earn some glory. This is Commander Vora of the Zarkari Dominion, he said over an open channel, his voice full of arrogance. Human vessel, this is a friendly weapons test. Defend yourself, if you can. Inside the Leviathan, the crew remained calm. The bridge was a masterpiece of human engineering, sleek, silent, deadly. Captain Elena Vasquez sat in the command chair, watching the screen as the alien ship charged its weapons. Incoming fire, the ship's AI reported. The alien warship fired a plasma bolt, bright, fast, and deadly. It raced through space, straight toward the Leviathan. The impact was immediate. The plasma struck the Leviathan's hull and disappeared. No explosion, no damage. Not even a flicker. The ship had absorbed the attack like it was nothing. The observation chamber fell into stunned silence. On the bridge of the Leviathan, Captain Vasquez smiled. Pathetic. She nodded to her weapons officer. Returned fire. One single shot. A beam of energy, silent and precise, lashed out. The Zarkari scout ship, a vessel that had survived dozens of battles, vanished in an instant. No explosion, no wreckage, just gone. The council chamber erupted in chaos. What just happened? Someone shouted. Chancellor Vorik gripped the armrests of his chair, his claws digging into the metal. That was impossible. The auxiliary analyst stared at his data. It was a single shot. But the energy signature, I do not understand it. The humans had just proven something terrifying. They were no longer the ones being mocked. Now, the entire galaxy was afraid. The wreckage, or rather, the absence of wreckage, left by the destroyed Zarkari ship sent a wave of shock through the Galactic Council. Billions of eyes across the galaxy had witnessed it. One moment, the Zarkari warship had been there, strong and unchallenged. The next, it was simply gone. Not exploded, not damaged, just erased from existence. On the observation station, tension hung thick in the air. Every leader, every officer, every strategist in the chamber sat frozen, struggling to process what they had just seen. Chancellor Vorek's claws gripped the armrests of his seat. His golden reptilian eyes narrowed at the massive human battleship floating in the void. The laughter, the arrogance, the smug confidence that had filled the chamber before was now gone. The Leviathan remained silent, unmoving. It did not gloat. It did not boast. It simply existed. And that was terrifying. Inside the Council's war room, a team of the galaxy's best analysts worked furiously, scanning, rescanning, running simulations, and attempting to make sense of what had happened. The auxiliary analyst, his translucent body pulsing with frantic yellow light, spoke first. "This should not be possible." "What should not be possible?" snapped an insectoid Vrex general, his mandibles clicking rapidly. "The energy signature of that weapon," the auxiliary stammered. "It does not match anything we have on record. It was not plasma, not kinetic, not a traditional energy beam. It was something else." A deep voice rumbled through the chamber. "Something more powerful than anything we possess." The room turned toward the Aelari High Scholar, one of the oldest beings in the Council. The Aelari were an ancient race, beings of pure energy, said to have knowledge spanning millions of years. For one of them to admit ignorance was a rare and terrifying event. The High Scholar's glowing form flickered slightly. "I have seen the rise and fall of civilizations," he said. "I have studied lost technologies from the ruins of forgotten empires. And yet, I do not know what the humans have created." A cold realization spread through the chamber. The humans had something new, something no one else understood, and that made them dangerous. Back on the Leviathan, the crew remained relaxed. Captain Elena Vasquez sat comfortably in her chair, watching the chaos unfold on the Council's communication channels. "They're panicking," her XO, Commander Malik, muttered. As expected, Vasquez replied. "They thought we were weak. They thought they understood us. Now, they realized they were wrong." She turned to the ship's eye. "Status: all systems operational," the AI replied in a calm, synthetic voice. "Shields remain at 100%. Weapon recharge complete. Council fleet remains on high alert, but no direct attacks detected." Vasquez smiled. "Of course they're on high alert. They just realized they're not the apex predators anymore." For centuries, the Galactic Council had ruled with absolute confidence in their superiority. Humanity had been ignored, mocked, seen as nothing more than an insignificant newcomer. But now, every major race was scrambling to understand how Earth had built something beyond their comprehension. The Council's desperate attempts. Chancellor Vorek, recovering from his shock, slammed a fist against his chair. "Enough of this. The humans have proven they have a weapon, but a single warship does not make them powerful." Auxiliary Admiral hesitated. "Chancellor, are you suggesting we attack?" Vorek's eyes burned with frustration. His empire had ruled through strength for centuries. The idea that humans, a race barely out of their own solar system, could pose a threat was insulting. "If they have nothing to hide," Vorek said, "they will allow us to inspect their ship." A murmur spread through the chamber. An inspection. No species would allow their technology to be exposed so easily. If the humans refused, it would be a sign of weakness. If they accepted, Vorek smirked. "Then we will learn their secrets." A transmission was sent. It was formal, laced with diplomatic courtesy, but everyone knew what it really meant. The Council demanded that the Leviathan submit to an official inspection by an elite team of scientists and military experts. If humanity had nothing to hide, they would agree. Back on Earth, in the highest chambers of the United Nations Space Command, the message was received. Admiral Jonathan Pierce, one of the key figures behind the Leviathan project, watched the message play on the screen. He was an old man, his face lined with the weight of responsibility. Around him, Earth's top military and political leaders sat in silence. A young officer hesitated before speaking. "Sir, should we allow them to inspect the ship?" Pierce let out a slow, measured breath. Then he smiled. "No," he said simply. The room remained quiet, waiting for more. Then, the Admiral leaned forward, his voice firm. "Instead, we send them a message of our own." A new transmission was sent to the Galactic Council. It was short, precise. Earth's ambassador, Daniel Carter, appeared on every screen in the council chamber. He was calm, his expression unreadable. "The Leviathan is not open for inspection," he said simply. "It is not a museum piece. It is a message." A cold silence filled the air. Then, Carter's eyes hardened. "For too long, you have dismissed us. You have laughed at us, called us weak. That was your mistake." He leaned slightly forward. "Now you are afraid, and you should be." The transmission ended. The council was left in stunned silence. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted, and humanity had just declared itself a force to be reckoned with. Tension crackled through the vast expanse of space. The Galactic Council's fleet remained in formation, dozens of battleships floating in silence, their weapons primed but not yet fired. The Leviathan, humanity's greatest warship, hovered in the void, unmoving, unshaken. The entire galaxy was watching. Billions of beings across thousands of star systems had their eyes locked on this moment. Would the humans stand their ground? Or would the Council, humiliated and desperate, unleash their firepower to reassert dominance? Chancellor Vorek's claws tapped impatiently on the metal armrest of his command chair. The once smug leader of the Zarkari Dominion now seethed with frustration. The humans had defied him, defied the entire Council. They had refused the inspection, refused to submit, and worst of all, they had made the galaxy fear them. Fear was dangerous. Fear led to power shifts. Fear made enemies reconsider old alliances, and Vorek would not allow humanity to rise uncontested. He turned to his fleet commander, a battle-scarred Zarkari warrior named General Kralok. "How many warships do we have in range?" 38, Chancellor, Kralok replied, each armed with enough firepower to wipe a small planet clean. "And how many human ships?" 1. Vorek bared his sharp teeth in what could have been a grin or a snarl. "Then let us remind these creatures where they stand." He leaned forward and gave the order. Fire. Across the battlefield, 38 Council warships powered up their weapons in unison. Glowing energy cores hummed to life. Cannons locked onto their target. The vacuum of space filled with the deadly glow of charged plasma, nuclear warheads, and energy beams ready to be unleashed. The Council was not taking chances. They were not sending a warning shot. This was an execution. And yet, aboard the Leviathan, Captain Alina Vasquez showed no sign of concern. She sat in her command chair, watching the enemy ships prepare to strike. Her second-in-command, Commander Malik, stood beside her, reading the data feed. 38 ships locking onto us. High-energy signatures detected. We're looking at a full-scale assault. Vasquez gave a slow nod. They're afraid. Afraid enough to try and kill us. The ship's AI chimed in, its voice smooth and mechanical. Enemy weapons will be fired in 10 seconds. A junior officer's hands trembled on the console. "Captain, should we?" "Hold," Vasquez said. 9 seconds. "Captain." "Hold." 8 seconds. The bridge was silent except for the hum of the ship's systems. Every human on board could feel their pulse pounding in their ears. 7 seconds. In Council headquarters, every leader, every general, every strategist watched with bated breath. Some expected the Leviathan to flee. Others expected it to be destroyed. 6 seconds. The warships locked in their targeting coordinates. 5 seconds. Auxiliary Fleet Commander whispered, "It's over." 4 seconds. Vorek leaned forward, golden eyes gleaming with satisfaction. 3 seconds. Vasquez took a slow breath. 2 seconds. She finally spoke. "Engage Aegis Protocol." 1 second. Fire. 38 Council warships unleashed hell. Blinding beams of energy tore through space. Plasma cannons erupted in bursts of white-hot fire. Hyper-accelerated missiles streaked forward, each one capable of turning a city into a crater. The void lit up as an entire fleet tried to erase a single ship from existence. And then, nothing. The Leviathan did not move. It did not fire back immediately. It did not even flinch. Because it did not need to. As the enemy fire reached the warship, something impossible happened. The ship's dark hull shimmered, bending reality itself. A translucent energy field flickered into existence around it, absorbing every single attack without so much as a scratch. The plasma beams disappeared, their energy drained to nothing. The missiles detonated uselessly, their force absorbed like drops of rain against an ocean. On the Council's flagship, Vorek's jaw tightened. "Impossible," he growled. A auxiliary scientist frantically scanned the Leviathan's defenses. No shield system should be able to withstand that much firepower. But the Leviathan had. And now, it was humanity's turn. Inside the battleship, Captain Vasquez remained calm. She glanced at her weapons officer. "Begin retaliation. Precision strikes only. Disable, don't destroy." The Leviathan's weapons came to life, not with the loud, dramatic energy blasts of alien ships, but with cold, silent efficiency. A single beam of black energy lashed out, striking the engines of a Zarkari battleship. The ship's power grid flickered and shut down instantly, leaving it drifting in space, completely helpless. Another beam flickered, and auxiliary destroyer lost all control of its navigation, its systems scrambling into disarray. One by one, ship after ship fell into silence. No explosions, no debris, just perfect, precise elimination of their ability to fight. The entire Council fleet was paralyzed in less than 60 seconds. A hush fell over the battlefield. The Leviathan floated untouched, surrounded by dozens of disabled Council warships. For the first time in the Council's history, their entire military force had been neutralized without a single loss, and humanity had done it with one ship. Inside the Council chamber, panic rippled through the ranks of leaders. This was not just military superiority. This was absolute dominance. Chancellor Vorek, his face tight with barely contained rage, slammed a clawed fist against the table. "We must retaliate. We cannot let the humans." The Alari High Scholar raised a shimmering hand. "Enough." Vorek turned to argue, but the energy being's flickering form pulsed brighter. "This is not a battle we can win," the Alari said, his voice solemn. "The humans have proven that they have surpassed us. If we escalate, they will not hold back next time." The weight of the words settled over the Council. They had always seen humans as weak, but now they faced the truth. Humanity had become something else, something they could no longer control. And the galaxy would never be the same again. The battlefield was silent. Drifting in space, the once mighty warships of the Galactic Council hung lifeless, their engines disabled, their systems scrambled. No wreckage, no casualties, just raw, undeniable proof that humanity had surpassed them in ways they never imagined. Aboard the Leviathan, Captain Elena Vasquez leaned back in her chair, watching the aftermath unfold. Her ship's advanced weapons had neutralized an entire armada without a single shot being wasted. Her second-in-command, Commander Malik, crossed his arms. "I don't think they expected that." "They'd never expect the quiet ones," Vasquez replied with a smirk. But she knew this wasn't over. The real battle was just beginning. Far from the battlefield, deep within the heart of the Galactic Council's capital station, an emergency meeting was held. The usual grand halls, where laughter and arrogance had once filled the air, were now deathly quiet. Chancellor Vorek sat at the head of the table, his reptilian features hardened with frustration. Around him, leaders of the most powerful civilizations in the galaxy looked shaken, their confidence cracked. The Alari High Scholar's shimmering form pulsed dimly. "We cannot defeat them in open combat." Vorek's claws tapped against the table. "I refuse to accept that." Auxiliary intelligence officer, his gelatinous body shifting nervously, spoke up. The humans are not just advanced. They are beyond us. Their technology does not match any known scientific principles. The Leviathan's defenses should have collapsed under our assault, but instead, they absorbed our weapons. The room fell silent. The implications were terrifying. The humans had developed something no one else had, a form of energy manipulation that defied explanation. They have technology we do not understand, Vorik growled. But all technology has a weakness. A shadowy voice spoke from the corner of the room. Then we must find it. All eyes turned toward the speaker, a representative from the Syndicate, the galaxy's most infamous network of spies, assassins, and black market traders. The Syndicate operated outside the laws of any civilization, dealing in information, sabotage, and war for profit. The Syndicate agent leaned forward, his presence unsettling even to the hardened council members. If we cannot match the humans in battle, then we must fight in the shadows. A slow smile spread across Vorik's face. Yes, if we cannot defeat them directly, we will bring them down from within. Back aboard the Leviathan, Vasquez and her crew prepared for their next step. They had made their point, but they knew the council wouldn't just accept defeat. The council won't sit still, Malik muttered. They're going to come at us in ways we can't see. Vasquez nodded. I know. That's why we're going on the offensive. She turned to the ship's eye. Are the drones ready? Affirmative, the eye replied. Stealth reconnaissance drones deployed, gathering intelligence on council movements. While the council plotted, humanity was already ahead of them. Days later, chaos erupted across Earth's outer colonies. A hidden virus infected multiple human AI systems, causing crucial infrastructure failures. Supply chains collapsed, communications blacked out, and entire fleets were left stranded in deep space. It was precise, surgical, the work of an enemy who didn't need brute force to win. Inside Earth's top security facility, Admiral Jonathan Pierce watched the reports come in. His face was unreadable, but his clenched jaw revealed his anger. This isn't a natural failure, one of his intelligence officers reported. This is sabotage. Pierce already knew. The Council had started a different kind of war, one fought in shadows, in secrecy, where no battleships fired, but entire civilizations could still fall. They think they can cripple us from the inside, Pierce murmured. They think we'll break. He turned to his officers, his voice ice-cold. Then let's show them what happens when humanity fights back. While the Council played dirty, humanity played smarter. Within days, Earth's top cyber warfare specialists identified the virus and traced it back to its source, deep within the Council's intelligence network. Instead of simply purging it, they did something far more dangerous. They rewrote it. The same virus that had infected Earth's systems was modified, enhanced, and quietly sent back, this time embedding itself deep within the Council's most secure databases. The Council would never see it coming. As tensions rose, entire civilizations found themselves caught in the storm. Some Council members, terrified by what had happened, considered abandoning the fight. Others, like Chancellor Vorik, only doubled down. And in the middle of it all, humanity stood unshaken. The Leviathan had proven Earth was no longer a joke. But the real war, the one fought not with weapons, but with secrets and shadows, had only just begun. And this time, humanity wasn't just fighting for respect. They were fighting to win. The war in the shadows had begun. While no official battles were declared, destruction spread like wildfire. Infrastructure collapsed. Entire fleets disappeared without a trace. Leaders of powerful civilizations found their security networks compromised, their war plans stolen before they could be enacted. The Galactic Council was bleeding. And humanity. Humanity was thriving. Chancellor Vorik sat in the war chamber, his claws digging into the metal table. His golden reptilian eyes darted between the reports flashing before him. Dozens of Council warships disabled by mysterious system failures, entire data networks corrupted beyond repair. The humans weren't fighting with weapons. They were fighting with something far more dangerous: knowledge. They are inside our systems. A auxiliary strategist howled, his translucent body flickering with distress. Every countermeasure we have tried, every firewall, every security system, has been breached. An insectoid Vrex general slammed his mandibles together. This is not war. This is humiliation. Vorek's tail twitched angrily. Then we stop playing defense, he growled. We bring humanity to its knees in a way they cannot counter. The chamber quieted. What do you propose? The Alari High Scholar asked. Vorek leaned forward, his eyes gleaming with a dark plan. We cut off their lifeline. We sever them from their colonies. We make them alone. A slow, unsettling realization spread through the council. Humanity was powerful, but it still relied on supply chains, trade routes, and resources spread across space. If the council could isolate Earth, blockade its borders, cripple its economy, turn its allies against it, then perhaps humanity's rise could be stopped before it was too late. The vote was cast. The plan was set. Humanity would soon find itself trapped. At first, the blockade was subtle. Trade routes were rerouted due to sudden security concerns. Major starports under Council control started turning away human ships. Transport convoys vanished without a trace, their distress signals mysteriously jammed. Earth's allies, smaller civilizations who had once admired humanity's rise, suddenly found themselves pressured by the Council. Some were bribed, others were threatened. One by one, the doors to the galaxy shut in humanity's face, and the message was clear: submit or be cut off forever. Inside Earth's highest command center, Admiral Jonathan Pierce stood before a massive galactic map. Red lines stretched across the screen, showing every blocked route, every lost connection. One of his officers shook his head. Sir, at this rate, we'll be isolated completely within weeks. Resources are drying up. Some of our outposts are already reporting shortages. A diplomat spoke next. Many of our allies are pulling away. They're afraid. The Council is using its influence to turn them against us. Pierce exhaled slowly. He had expected the Council to strike back. But this wasn't just war. This was suffocation. Captain Vasquez, he called. A moment later, the commander of the Leviathan appeared on screen, standing on the bridge of humanity's most powerful warship. What's the situation? She asked. Pierce's voice was firm. We're being boxed in. The Council thinks they can starve us out. Vasquez's lips curled into a smirk. Then I assume we're not just going to sit here and take it. Pierce leaned forward, his eyes filled with steely determination. No, he said. We're going to break the blockade. The Leviathan emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Proxima Gate, one of the last remaining passages to Earth's outer colonies. Waiting for them was an entire fleet of Council warships. Chancellor Vorek himself had ensured that this choke point would be reinforced with enough firepower to obliterate any human resistance. And yet, Vasquez showed no fear. She stood on the bridge of the Leviathan, eyes scanning the battlefield. Enemy fleet detected, the AI reported. 73 warships, all weapons locked on us. Malik let out a low whistle. Well, they certainly aren't playing around. Vasquez smirked. Neither are we. She turned to her communications officer. Begin transmission. The image of Vasquez appeared on every Council warship's screen. This is Captain Vasquez of the Leviathan, she said. You have one chance to stand down. If you fire upon us, you will not be given a second. Laughter echoed through the enemy fleet. A Zarkari warlord snarled. You are one ship. We are an armada. Do you truly believe you can win? Vasquez smiled. You misunderstand, she said. I never said we were alone. And with that, hyperspace rippled. From the void, hundreds of human warships emerged. Not just any warships, stealth warships. Ships that had been hidden from every Council scanner. Ships that had been lying in wait for this very moment. The Council fleet, once so sure of its victory, now found itself surrounded. And then, the Leviathan fired the first shot. The battle was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The Leviathan's experimental weapons sliced through enemy shields like they were paper. The newly revealed human fleet executed precision strikes, disabling engines, jamming communications, rendering the Council fleet powerless within minutes. It wasn't just a battle. It was a slaughter. Ships surrendered. Others attempted to flee, only to be cut off. Within an hour, the mighty Council blockade was gone. Humanity had done more than just break free. They had shattered the illusion of the Council's invincibility. And across the galaxy, something even more dangerous happened. Other civilizations, once too afraid to resist, began to realize a terrifying truth. The Council can be beaten. As the last enemy ship fled, Vasquez turned to her crew. "Status report. All enemy warships disabled or surrendered," the eye replied. "The blockade has been broken." A slow grin spread across her face. "Good." Back on Earth, Admiral Pierce received the news. He turned to his officers. "The galaxy thought they could erase us. Now, they're the ones who should be afraid." The Council had thrown everything it had at humanity, and humanity had survived. No, more than survived. They had won. But this was only the beginning. Because now, the galaxy no longer saw humans as weak newcomers. Now, they saw them as something else, something unstoppable. And for the first time in history, the rulers of the galaxy were afraid. The galaxy had changed. For centuries, the Galactic Council had ruled with absolute authority, their power unquestioned, their dominance unchallenged. They had dictated the laws of war, the boundaries of technology, and the fate of civilizations. But now, they were afraid. Humanity had shattered their fleets. Humanity had broken their blockades. Humanity had proven that they could not be controlled. And across the stars, a terrifying realization spread like wildfire. The Council was no longer the greatest power in the galaxy. Humanity was. On the once mighty capital world of the Galactic Council, a desperate meeting was held. Chancellor Vorik sat in the center, his golden eyes burning with fury. Around him, the leaders of the most powerful species in the galaxy sat in stunned silence, their confidence shattered. Reports flooded the chamber. Entire fleets had been destroyed. Major colonies had declared independence. Even their own allies had started to question their rule. And worst of all, humanity was still advancing. They should not have won. An insectoid general screeched, slamming his clawed fists onto the table. "They are young. They are reckless. How could they? They are different." The Alari High Scholar interrupted, his glowing form flickering with unease. "They do not think like us. They do not fight like us." Vorik's tail twitched angrily. "Then we must strike before they become unstoppable." The chamber fell into silence. And then, from the shadows, a voice spoke. "You still do not understand, do you?" A figure stepped forward. A human. Not a warrior. Not a soldier. A diplomat. Ambassador Sarah Lynn. She had arrived unarmed, alone, and yet every council leader in the room felt a deep, gnawing unease. Because they all knew the truth. The humans did not come to negotiate from a position of weakness. They came as conquerors. Sarah Lynn's voice was calm, measured, but beneath it was an unshakable authority. "This war is over," she said. "You lost." Vorik snarled. "We are not defeated. We still have power. You have nothing." The room froze. Lynn's eyes burned with something cold and relentless. "Your fleets are broken. Your allies are abandoning you. Your people are starting to see you for what you truly are, weak." The words cut deeper than any blade. "We do not seek to rule you," Lynn continued. Humanity does not desire an empire. The council leaders exchanged cautious glances. But we will never be your subjects, Lin said. Not now. Not ever. Silence. And then, Lin leaned forward. There are two paths before you, she said. Path 1. You attempt to rebuild. Try to challenge us again. You continue your war in shadows, your sabotage, your deception. But understand this. If you attack us again, we will not hold back. The next war will not end with your surrender. It will end with your extinction. The words sent a cold chill through the chamber. Path 2. You accept the new reality. You step back, reform your ways, and acknowledge that your era of absolute rule is over. Lin let the silence stretch. Choose wisely, she finished. And then, with a final, knowing glance, she turned and walked away. In the following weeks, the shockwaves of humanity's victory spread across the stars. Some civilizations, once oppressed by the Council, saw an opportunity and rose up in rebellion. Others, fearing humanity's strength, quickly sought alliances. And the Council? They fractured. Some of their leaders chose to adapt, to accept that their time as rulers had ended. Others, like Vorik, refused to surrender, fleeing into the dark corners of the galaxy, vowing revenge. But no matter how they tried to resist, one truth could not be denied. The age of the Galactic Council was over, and the age of humanity had begun. Aboard the Leviathan, Captain Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge, staring out at the endless stars. Behind her, Commander Malik smirked. So, what now? Vasquez exhaled slowly. Now. She turned, a small smile forming on her lips. Now, we build. Humanity had won the war. But now, they had an entire galaxy to reshape. And this time, they would do it on their terms. The rulers of the past had fallen. The titans of the future had risen. And at the center of it all, one undeniable truth remained. Humanity was here to stay.